Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. the Crystal Rogers case, two of Kentucky's highest courts released big decisions today, both ruling against Brooks Houck. Houck is charged with murder in connection to the 2015 disappearance of Crystal Rogers. He was arrested in September and has been in jail on a $10 million bond since then.
Crystal Rogers is a mother of 5 beautiful kids that went missing on the July 4th weekend in 2015. Her boyfriend, Brooks Houck, came under heavy scrutiny about her disappearance back in 2015. Brooks Houck was later arrested after Joseph Lawson, and the case kind of died out. There was some major shocks in the case when the state prosecutor, Brooks Houck's hearing, tells the judge that his brother, Nick, might have been the one that shot Crystal's father, Tommy Ballard. If you're unfamiliar with this case, Crystal is a beautiful young lady that disappeared in 2015, and her father went out looking for her and searching. Well, during a hunting, what many thought was a hunting accident, he was shot to death. And apparently during this hearing for Brooks Houck, it was alleged that his brother Nick may have killed Crystal's father.
Waiting for testing to come back on the firearm we believe was used to murder Tommy Ballard, firearm that we purchased from Nicholas Houck, who was using a fake name.
This case has a lot of twists and turns, and that's not it. In 2013, an officer was ambushed. His name is Jason Ellis. And people are starting to feel that this Jason Ellis is connected to this particular case with Crystal Rogers and Brooks Houck. So now we have 3 people arrested in connection with the death of Crystal Rogers, although her body has not yet been found.
The Chief Justice ruling today, Nelson County Judge Charles Sims will be staying on the case, writing, quote, the defendant.
Well, good afternoon. I just realized I didn't have light. Hold on. I think we need light. Sorry, guys. Apparently, I like working in the dark. I like working in the dark. Well, it's nice to see you. I'm Bullhorn Betty. I cover true crime. We got some great news out of Kentucky. We do. We have some great news out of Kentucky. We're going to go over that before we get started on our show today, which is about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. Many of you guys may have been here yesterday when we were going over this. I'll kind of bring you up to speed where we left off yesterday, and we're just going to continue to go down this road. We know that we have an event that we're kind of committed to at this point. So we're going to be getting those things together over the next few or several weeks, getting a committee, that committee will most likely be like the board of directors as well. I just don't want to be the responsible one of making decision. I'd rather a group decision, because I know that 2 heads are better than 1, 4 heads are better than 2, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, we just need to make sure we all have the same goal and vision in mind, themed wise. And I think it'll be great. Melanie, it's nice to see you. The real me too. Hello, my loves. Hello, Sonia up in the house. It's nice to see you. Eeyore Blues, Lisa B always. Dawn, good afternoon. Michelle, it's nice to see you. Phil, good afternoon. I don't know what time. Good evening. Good early evening, maybe. Jack, it's nice to see you. Joanne, good afternoon. Common Sense, it's nice to see you, my love. Cindy, Betty Fan, it's nice to see you. Abby, guys, for me, it's still afternoon. Rebecca, this is about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. I don't know who that was for, but yes, thank you. Yes, we want to keep it about Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. It is nice to see you all here. Who else do we have up in the house? Southern Grammy Wolf. Hey, my love. Kathleen, Miriam, it's nice to see you. Connie, it's nice to see you. Danielle. Peggy, hello, hello, hello. I got a secret. You can keep it? Can you keep it? Oh, SJ, it's nice to see you, my love. Aw, thank you, Miriam. Thanks for your consistency in this case when others go off the rails. Yeah. Yeah, and there's something I don't want to really bring it up because it's with a, it's kind of like I wasn't trying to make a dig. I was just talking about. I just don't agree with the person, and I'm like, what the heck, man? So I'm just like, you know what? I just. We saw something. That's all I gotta say. Mima, it's nice to see you. Deanna, they probably hit him because they didn't want to go to jail for abuse. We should probably talk about some theories along the lines of that because, we need to start going down these trails. We need to start going down all the trails, and it's going to be very heartbreaking. And I know if Seth is watching, it's going to end up, it's going to upset him, and I know that. And there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm sorry, my friend. I still love you, and I know you still love me even when you want to smack the shit out of me, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Thank God I'm in Florida, not in Tennessee. I don't know. I feel like if I was in Tennessee, I would obviously, well, Seth would be ready to pinch my neck. What the hell are you doing, lady? Donna, it's nice to see you. Hindsight. Joe, oh my gosh. Thank you, Danielle. God bless you. I appreciate that. Gypsy, it's nice to see you, my love, my love, my love. It's Anna Scoop. It's nice to see you. Hello. Who else? Terry, good afternoon. Unicorn, it's nice to see you, my love. What is the best way to donate to BHB? Oh, well, it's starting to become slim pickings. Everybody wants to pay, they want you to pay. I preach it, right? Your share, but usually it's I think Venmo or Cash App, those are I think even PayPal, you have to pay a fee of some sort. Either you have to pay it or I have to pay it. I think the only one, isn't it? I think Venmo. I don't know. I don't even pay attention. But you know what? You're probably right. My mods would probably know better than I. BJ Boop, it's nice to see you. Randa. I think I've been saying your name wrong this whole time. You're probably ready to smack me. Because I'm just now noticing maybe it's the new glasses. Maybe I can see clearer. I don't know what it is. So, Randa, it's nice to see you. Travis, hello. I am doing amazing. Kind of, sort of. I was out in the front yard sweating I forgot. God. I'm almost embarrassed to tell you. Okay, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to let you guys laugh at me because I know you're not laughing with me when I tell you this story. So I come back, right? It's been pretty rainy, around. You guys know I was gone for a week. As soon as I come back to town, it's late on the 3rd. My BFF calls me and said, don't forget we're having a cookout tomorrow. She's like, I just want to remind you, so you're not too tired. And I'm like, well, you kind of know I'd literally just got back. It's 8:30 at night. I just unloaded the vehicle, but sure, I'm going to... Speaking of the devil, give me just a second. My best friend is calling. I'm wondering if she's watching. She didn't seem like the true crime junkie. I don't know. are you watching the show? And she's like, no. I said, I was just getting into the talk about the July 4th weekend. I wanted to tell them about the funny thing I did to the lawn. And she's like, oh. She's like, it's funny how that happens. So anyways, so she's like, okay, yeah, just come here. And then even on the 4th, she calls me early in the morning, like making sure, you sure you're going to be, like, I just want to make sure you're coming. She didn't even ask me if you sure you're going to be here. She just wanted to call, let me know she was going to the store. I'm like, I'll be there about, by noon, maybe 1 the latest, so I'm telling her this. So I'm out of fumes, right? I just came in, dropped the bags. I haven't cleaned up anything. Everything's in my living room. I go to sleep. I get up, I get ready. I get my bathing suit on. I get festive, and I head over to Laura's house. Well, my house, it's been raining here. I had grass grown. I had a full yard. So what do? I can't do anything on the 4th. Why? Because I'm having to be, do this cookout thing. The cookout was very good. I just want to. I'm making it sound like they forced me to be there. She kind of did. So the very next morning on the 5th, everybody's been shooting crap off all night long. I had to put earplugs in. I went to sleep. I slept like a baby. So guess what I was doing? I woke up at 6:30, played with Delilah, got my cup of coffee, and at 7:30 on the dot in the morning, that lawnmower cranked up. It sure did. And I mowed the lawn for all those nice little party animals that wanted to stay up blowing those rockets off at 1 o'clock in the morning. And I made sure I geared that up into high gear on the 5th, bright and early in the morning. But here's the kicker. This is the funny thing. This is where you guys can laugh at me. I missed the whole strip by the air conditioning. There's a little patch that goes by the side of the house, and I forgot to do it. So I have this beautifully manicured yard. And now I have those big bushy weeds that I've been working on for the last month trying to pull out of this freaking yard. And they're popping up. So how am I doing today? I'm doing great. But I was just out there sweating in the yard, pulling all those, what do they call it? Sawgrass knobs out of the yard. All right, now that you guys know about my day. Oh, gosh, it's nice to see you. That would take the long way around, and just in case you're nosy. But I was sitting here, and I just realized, I don't know how I got on that when I just noticed Rhanda's name. I've been calling her Rhonda. I'm sorry, Rhonda. I'm sorry. You can smack me. Little Orange Man, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you, Mama Todd. It's nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. Me and you. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever it is wherever you're from. But I want to tell you, after I got out there and sweated and pulled all those bushy little weeds out of there, it looks like I mowed it. Oh, I got a clappy thing for that. So, hey, you know what? Things happen for a reason, I reckon. Now I have another pile of weeds. I gotta load up into the garbage can. I think my neighbors are probably thinking or my garbage men probably think they got a new person living in here. They went like 2 years without any like major piles of, debris like outside of the fence, but they didn't have my local trash people didn't deal with the hurricane stuff. They had companies come in here and clean all that stuff up and pick this stuff up. I mean, we had like 2-3 trucks going down the roads at the time. So they really weren't responsible for all of that. But, now they're getting, they just raised our rates on garbage. So I just want to make sure I'm getting, everything I'm paying for. I'm paying a lot of labor to get everything I'm paying for my garbage pickup. Because now I'm starting to use their yard service. Because now I didn't realize that. I know now. I got garbage, I got recycling, and I got yard waste. You'd think that they would want to have a truck that has 3 like bins in it, and get it all. I don't know. Who knows? They must know better than me. I don't know. I'm going to quit. I'm going to quit talking in circles now. We went from pulling weeds to garbage trucks to realizing I'm saying names wrong. What the hell's going on here on the Bullhorn Betty channel? I don't know. I hit my head. I hit my head. Touch grass, smoke grass, eat grass. Do what you need to do. Yeah, the problem is I wouldn't mind touching it, smoking it, or eating it at this point. But one thing I don't like doing is digging it up. Okay, I can tell you that. Okay? I would eat grass. I would prefer eating grass at this moment. It was so blessed hot, y'all. I'm out there. I am sweating. I mean, I got like just stuff just pouring off my head. And trust me, I'm still in those clothes. Oh, yeah. I came in here and cooled off and realized, oh, crap, it's almost 3:30. I need to get online. So you guys got sweaty Betty and you don't even know it. How do you like them apples? How do you like them apples? Adrian, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see you. I'm from the anti-swamp ass. But yet I'm swimming in a sea of it right now. I'm just saying. Okay. Okay. I'm getting serious now. We're getting serious. We're getting serious up in here. VA, it's nice to see you. I do lawns for free. VA, with you, we gotta ask which lawns are you talking about? I don't want to commit to something. I don't know you like that. I'm just saying. Chaos is already ready to start throwing daggers at me. He ain't talking about like that, Betty. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, I'm walking in. Yeah, baby. Cathy, thank you so much. Thank you for that gracious super sticker. I do appreciate that. Maybe I'm working for it. I don't know. I mean, you do got sweaty Betty here. I'm just saying. Maybe we should do sweaty Betty a little more. I'm just joking, y'all. I'm just joking. I need to stop. Robin, it's nice to see you. Shannon. I got to try to get this, like my cheeks are starting to hurt at this point. You guys need to stop it. You're making me laugh too much. One sock candy. Oh, Linda, it's nice to see you. Get the subject of the hours. Get to the subject. Okay. You haven't been here before. Have a great day. God bless. This ain't the channel for you, honey. Just isn't. I'm just saying, it just isn't the channel for you. Anyways, so getting it into this, we're not even going to start with Sebastian Rogers because we got breaking news. The breaking news is Brooke Houck has been convicted of conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with physical evidence. And it sounds like we don't know what the sentencing is going to be. From everything I have learned from this case, from everything that I've learned from this case, they came back fairly quickly. But somebody wanted to make sure, I don't know, it might have something to do with the 10 pounds of sweat that's out there in the yard right now. We didn't need rain today, okay? I watered the yard. I'm just saying. We need to get off the yard. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the endorphins from going out there for like the last hour and tugging and pulling. I got to the point where we got these guys that are like scooping out the, I don't know what they're called, the rain whatevers. And so they were down the road. And so every time I turned around, my back end is kind of hanging outside of the, the house, the way I was turned. And I'm sitting there, I know the way it's sounding is it sounds funny. It's not that funny, okay? I'm pulling weeds, guys. Get your head out of the clouds. But I didn't have the the shovel. So I'm just trying to see how hard these weeds are. Maybe I'll just walk around and just take my hand down to the base and just pull them out of the ground if they're that easy. I'm just saying. So anyways, I'm there and I got both hands on this damn weed and I'm, and you're kind of bent down. Yeah. Backside, you got the side of the house, right? And all they see is this, this rump going out of this backside while I'm trying to pull this damn weed. And so I realized what was happening. I wasn't hearing the machine moving. So I went and got myself a shovel. Oh, shit. I went and got myself a shovel to go out there, and I guess my butt wasn't getting... So all of a sudden, I hear the damn truck cranking up. Where did they go? I don't know. They didn't finish this, but apparently they had to go somewhere because all of a sudden they turn around. And of course they get me again, so I'm looking, and you got these guys in this truck looking at me as they're driving by, and I'm like, this better be the last flipping weed on this side of the house, because I felt like entertainment, and usually I don't mind being entertainment when we're here, okay, but not out in front of my house to a bunch of sweaty men cleaning out the gunk of my, water shit. I don't know what it's called. So if you guys want to know how my day is, that's my day. So maybe I'm just floating on air because I felt like, somebody was looking at my butt. I don't know. Betty doesn't get this kind of attention, okay? I live a quiet, very kind of lonely life with Delilah. We're just normal people living in the society of 2025, okay? It was a little exciting for me. Maybe that's the pep in my step. I don't know. I don't know all these things. Oh, good gracious. What did she say? I just want to tell you, I didn't inhale. I didn't inhale. Did I do well? Do I need to go a little lower than that? I don't know. So anyways, it's a good day for the Crystal Rogers case. If you guys don't know about this case, I really believe that this wasn't solved because of political corruption. There for a while, in my opinion, it seemed like somebody was interfering. It seemed to me that this entire time, everybody knew who the responsible parties were. This happened, this case, guys, I want you guys to understand, this case happened in 2015. I want you to think about how historic this date is, just shortly after July 4th. July 4th weekend in 2025, 10 years ago, over 10 years ago today, Crystal Rogers lost her life. And her father, Tommy Ballard, he was a Papa Bear. And he went out there and he fought for his daughter like we want Papa Bears to do. And during that, he came across some really damaging evidence. And I think it was Brooks' grandmother's car being seen where Brooks' elderly grandma would not be at certain times of the night. And that evidence, that very, very sensitive evidence, which would have cooked Brooks, no pun intended, not to be funny, Tommy had. And then, boom, Tommy lost his life on the morning that everybody knew, because every single year on this particular day, he was like clockwork. He went out to his hunting land with his grandson. It's the first day of hunting season. And when he gets there, he is shot through and through the chest. He was ambushed, much like Jason Ellis. Tommy Ballard and Jason Ellis were ambushed. And I think that is critical, because for the longest time, even when we have covered the Crystal Rogers case, we didn't know whether the Ellis case was connected, because in all fairness, we hear in media, social media and media, we have a habit when a case we're passionate about
needs attention. Oh, hey, Al, it's nice to see you. Well, hey, Reba, Grave Crime with Grace, it's nice to see you, love bug. When we have, where was I going with this? Because I think it's relevant because we have Tommy Ballard, which many believe Brooks' brother, Nick, ambushed him. And I find it funny that nobody can make the connection between Jason Ellis's case. That's where I was going. And we in the media, whether it's mainstream media or social media, sometimes if we're passionate about a case, we'll use another case to help promote another case to get it both attention. You see what I'm saying? So, say for example, Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers is a case that's well in the algorithm, that works well in the algorithm, and you have a breaking new case of maybe a 5-year-old child that's missing. You might use the key words for Sebastian and talk about Sebastian while linking that other case and segueing into that other case to help promote it. So I didn't know if it was something like that happened, and maybe because Crystal Rogers was getting so much attention. I mean, this was a breaking case. This was a national news case at the time. And so I had always wondered, did they start incorporating Jason Ellis, which actually lost his life before Crystal Rogers did? Are they just doing that to maybe get his case more attention? So I had always been conflicted because I know that this stuff does happen because I've done it myself. It's a common practice. So was this that? I'm starting to feel that these are more connected, especially after today, because you hear, we're going to get to one statement. It's going to be at the end of this, so you guys are going to bear with me. We're going to be on this for about another 15 minutes. So if you guys are here for Sebastian, just stick around about another 15 minutes. We'll get back on the topic of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. But here you're going to hear at the end, it does sound like Ellis is associated with this somehow. And he lost his life before by ambush. And remember, the other ambush is that the law enforcement believes it's Nick. So Crystal Rogers doesn't appear to be ambushed. But Tommy does. And they're saying Nick did that. Well, it appears that Jason Ellis was also ambushed. Well, this is the kicker. Nick Houck worked with Jason Ellis and was on duty in the middle of the night with Jason Ellis before he got off work. Jason Ellis was running late because he had made an arrest and he was processing. There would have been no way anybody could have been lying in wait out there. I've got video of the area. Related to Jason Ellis because I went out there and I looked. And then it hit me. If Tommy Ellis is ambushed and they believe it's Nick Houck and Jason Ellis is ambushed and Nick worked with him, the probability of Nick Houck murdering Jason Ellis is very high. And I believe now that we have heard about Rosemary, Brooks' mom, and her being okay and really the driving force to murder Crystal Rogers, I believe she was the driving force, and I believe her putz of a son, Nick Houck, which he's the putz of the family, I truly believe that he would have unalived Jason Ellis. And I think it has to do with the fact that it was all political. And Jason Ellis was this rising star, and their putz of a son didn't have what it takes to run for sheriff. And so after that, Nick is basically like, not Nick, but Brooks is like basically move out the way. And Brooks ended up running for sheriff with no law enforcement experience. It is insane. I think Jason Ellis was a political slaying. And I think Nick Houck did it. If we were to compare crime scene for crime scene. Because if he truly is responsible for Tommy Ballard, it seemed like that went without a hitch, like a well-oiled machine, like it had been done before. Just saying. All right, let's get to this. We're going to listen to the first few minutes of this, and then we're going to listen to 5 minutes at the end. And then if you guys want to watch this yourself, please do. Here's the link to get the whole update on Brooks Houck. This is a great day. And they didn't believe, a lot of the professional talking heads did not believe that they had enough to convict Joseph Lawson. But Joseph Lawson was also convicted of 2 crimes as well. These guys could face anywhere from 10 years to the rest of their life in jail from the crimes that they have just been accused of and accused, indicted, and now convicted.
Just moments ago, and WHAS 11 News legal analyst Nick.
I lost my damn audio. Son of a biscuit. Son of a biscuit.
A Louisville attorney and a former prosecutor is joining us to break all this down again.
Sorry, I have to make sure I get this right because mine seems like mine. I just turned it to my.
And just happening as we speak. Let's go over it again, Nick, because the instruction to the jury was pretty interesting.
Okay, I don't want to listen to all this. Okay, I want you guys to listen right here.
Accomplice. That means the jury couldn't necessarily decide if Brooks was the one who murdered Crystal Rogers or just played a role in it. Also found guilty on complicity to tampering with.
We know it was Brooks Houck. Let's talk about now. What about his statement when he was asked about lie? I mean, I think that was probably a big part of it too.
Okay, Nick, I'm hearing that we have Alexandra
Goldberg,
let's get
who's
live
some
there
of the first
at the
reports
courthouse.
from the courthouse there.
So, Alexandra, if you can hear us, what can you tell us?
I mean, this is a historic moment for the Ballard family, for the city of Bardstown, a historic moment here throughout this 10-year-long unsolved case. And now families finally have answers. Of course, Brooks Houck was convicted guilty on murder of principal or accomplice. That means the jury couldn't necessarily decide if Brooks was the one who murdered Crystal Rogers or just played a role in it. Also found guilty on complicity to tampering with physical evidence. For Joseph Lawson here, conspiracy to commit murder, guilty in tampering with physical evidence. Just to give you a look into the courtroom, I mean, when...
Okay, so what I'm hearing here is it sounds like all 3 of them have been charged and convicted of the same, pretty much the same thing. Conspiracy to commit murder. So it sounds like they believe all 3 of them were involved in the homicide of Crystal Rogers, but they can't figure out which one actually murdered her. So they've got all 3 of them on conspiracy charges. And they know that they moved the car, they moved the body. Her body still hasn't been found. The grim and gross details of some of the descriptions, such as farm animals, like pigs. It doesn't sound like there is anything left to find. So I think this is going to be one of those situations, and again, this is in Kentucky. They're taking a nobody case. They're taking a circumstantial case to court. They didn't get the actual murder conviction because they don't know who actually committed the homicide. But these people are going away for a long time. These people went without justice for 10 years. 10 years. And this poor victim, there's most likely nothing left of her. There's nothing left of her. So the only way we're going to ever get justice is by circumstantial. Is this the outcome that I would have liked to see for Brooks? No. But instead of Joseph being able to walk
and him getting convicted was so, little evidence. I mean, there was evidence, there was circumstantial evidence, and they believed the witnesses in the case. And that's why he ultimately was convicted. But they didn't have a whole lot, but they had enough. And I think the jury was appropriate in this. They do not have her body. They know she's deceased. There's all the indicators that she's deceased. Everybody has her stuff. She has nothing. It's another Sebastian Rogers case, right? Again, just same case, different face, different names. Different face, different names. Okay, so you guys heard that, and there's one other spot that I want you guys to hear. And it is, I think, right here.
Yeah, well, what's interesting about this case is that from the very beginning, we've heard this word circumstantial, which means there's no body, no crime scene, no weapon, not even a motive. And that's where the defense really formed their argument, saying that there's no physical evidence, not even trace evidence or DNA found in cars and homes throughout several FBI searches. But the prosecution was able to call up several witnesses here that would speak to what they overheard from some of the players in this case. And the defense here came in trying to call some of these witnesses unreliable. If you remember, Danny Singleton overheard a conversation with Rosemary about getting rid of Crystal. Of course, the defense here saying that he's unreliable. He's actually been, caught on a perjury charge here. Same thing with Heather Snellen, who said that she overheard Steve and Joey talking about moving a body with a skid steer. The defense here saying that he was a drunk and a drug addict. How could you trust him? I mean, the list goes on here. Mary Mattingly, that Glenview Drive neighbor, Amber Bowman, talking about the involvement that Nick Houck may have had. And then, of course, Charlie Girdley, who spoke about feeding Steve Lawson, saying that he'll pull her teeth and the hogs will do the rest. Again, defense here coming in, calling these witnesses unreliable. The jury even asking to rewatch that testimony here with Charlie Girdley. But when you look at the case in that circumstantial case, these witnesses ought to have played a major role in why the jury made that decision. There were a handful of them. Again, defense trying to poke holes. But some of those statements, some very jarring, some even disturbing, may have stuck with those jurors.
So there you guys have it, folks. Great day. I mean, it could have been better, but we're going to put this in the win column. We're going to put this in the win column for Crystal Rogers, and it's just, God rest her soul, and God rest her dad's soul. It's just a sad case all the way around, but we're going to finally at least be able to put this in the closed column. It stayed open for a decade. Now, before we get started on Sebastian, somebody sent me the Deception Detective. I want you guys to go over there and watch it. We'll have a discussion tomorrow. I'm going to only show you guys the first 30 seconds of it because it's highly disturbing for me. And I think everybody needs to educate themselves, but this is his work, not mine, which was somebody else's work that he's analyzing. So I'd like him to get, if you guys would like to go over there and get informed, I do suggest you do. We're all in this together, where we're wanting to pass around, missing person flyers, but there is a missing child scam going on that you need to be aware of. Okay. And I think that you all should go over to the Deception Detective and get yourself informed. I'm posting the link. Don't do it right now because I want you guys here and paying attention to me. But go push the button and save it for later so you guys can watch it or listen to us both at the same time. So I watched this, and I've got to say it's highly disturbing, and I feel like maybe something like this has happened to me over the last 5 years. I wouldn't really know if it has. We've used Facebook quite a lot. Is that what's going on here? I don't know. I truly, truly, truly don't know. I don't always post on it, but, people send me, please pass this around, and I do it, just because we're all here. And this, we might want to, consider just a little bit. But again, I want you guys to, I like how he kind of breaks right into this. So I think you guys will all want to go over there and watch this.
Yes, it sounds too evil to be true, but there's a scam going on right now targeting missing children, specifically people like us who care about finding them. After all, if you're a subscriber, it's probably because of one of my many series investigating missing children. So in today's video, let's break down YouTuber Pleasant Green's expose about this devious scheme and see if you've already been targeted, because most people wouldn't even know.
So that is where I'm going to leave it, right there on the deception detective. He is absolutely right. We have all been doing this for a long time. If we ever, we are made up to help. We are compelled to help. We are compelled to share. We wouldn't be here wasting our time on these cases if we weren't compelled to do so. Great. So some people have already watched this. This is very, very serious and very, very significant, because what they are doing is scamming people out of subscriptions, scamming people out of money. It is really, really bad. And I want everybody that comes across my video to please go over to the Deception Detective. The title of this is The Missing Child Scam. And the reason why I'm telling you that, because I don't know when you're going to watch this on replay. It could be 2 years from now. And when you go there, you can't find it. Well, type in The Missing Child Scam, and you will be brought up to the Deception Detective's show about this and be informed. If you know other people that are on Facebook, or, because people that are on Facebook don't always travel to X or Instagram or Snapchat or TikTok or YouTube. So they may not even know that this is happening, and it's specifically targeting Facebook. This scam is specifically targeting Facebook, but this has only been found in Facebook. I have to think if this is happening on Facebook, this might be happening on other apps as well. But I think it only works because there's only so many apps that allow you to edit your post, and I think that's what makes that so friendly on Facebook. But either way, be informed in whatever is going on out there, because we are on social media. Social media is a world, or not just social media, but the World Wide Web in and of itself is a worldwide thing. That means people from really rotten places that have an internet connection that are in Timbuktu on XYZ continent, where our laws do not punish them, can do a lot of damage to your bank account. Be careful when you're online. If you guys, I see a lot of you guys have names. You're going to want to start learning to make yourself a little more anonymous. Protect yourself. All right, guys, thanks for bearing with me. So now we're going to get started on Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers' case. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, he was 15 years old when he disappeared. He is now 16 years old. Mama Rissa has graciously, I've got to find the other ones, but Mama Rissa has graciously provided us some photos that she has enhanced. She was watching the show yesterday and was able to get some, and I'll you don't have to worry, like, I can't hardly see. It's okay. It's okay. You don't need to really see it. But the point is that we're getting different facial and hairstyles for Sebastian Rogers, and I'm hoping that this will at least aid in, maybe seeing him in a different hairstyle, because you have to think it's been over a year. So
he's a 16-year-old boy. He's going to have a fuller mustache coming in, fuller beard coming in. We don't know if he's taking care of himself and being, hygienic. We don't know if he's just got a bushy face beard or, really long stringy hair, if he's brushing we don't know. We don't know. So we have to assume all. We have to assume all possibilities here. And if he's going to be up and about, we need to think of him as the possibility of being featured a little different, not as featured as a little boy, but start featuring him as a young man, because he's a young man and he's developing. He's been developing this entire time over the last year. I used to have a handle, and not my name, but some change. Yeah, others change. Yeah. Wow, that Sebastian Rogers looking a lot like his dad, Seth. Handsome young man, needs to be home with his father. Amen to that. I done away with social media with my name when patients started reaching out. I thought, nope. Yeah, that's about it. So Sebastian was allegedly inside this home with only his mother this particular weekend. He resides typically in the house with his mom and stepdad. Now, what we've learned through this investigation, and even what his father did not know until this investigation, is that there had been multiple reports made to the Department of Children and Family Services about abusive treatment of Sebastian Rogers. And it resulted in several initiations of home visits brought about by the Department of Children and Family Services. However, what's so upsetting is, as you know, from the very beginning of the case, we learned that Seth Rogers was heavily involved in his son's life, upbringing, as well as education. Really wanted, he really took fatherhood and parenting. It seemed like it was his calling. He knew how to connect with his son. He wanted to teach his son how to build things, not destroy things, how to cook, how to take care of himself. It seemed like he had an understanding of Sebastian and, Sebastian's disability a lot more than his mother did. So what we've learned is that when Katie and Seth were married, Seth was the primary caregiver of Sebastian. And when they found out Sebastian was sick, it sounds like Katie took off to the military. Many people say that she did it because she ran away from her sick son. Other people I've heard said she did it so she could get the medical benefits for her sick son. Whatever the case may be, the point is she was not the one raising her son. It was Seth that primarily had that nurturing relationship and just that nurturing relationship with his son. And then that was stripped away from him when his wife wanted a divorce. By this time, during the timeline, we're learning that it's possible that Chris and Katie were having an affair at this time. And she wanted to fight for Sebastian. Now, was that for better hours with the Navy? Was that for better placement in housing for the Navy? Was it self-serving motivated? It's everything that we know about Katie. It's very well could have been self-serving motivated, because what ended up happening is by her doing that, it ended up making Seth homeless. And despite everything that she threw at Seth to try to get his parenting stripped, the judge wasn't buying it. And still, even though he was homeless, still gave him joint custody of his son. That speaks volumes. Volumes. And so they ended up moving to Tennessee, and shortly thereafter, because again, Seth is a dad that wants a relationship with his son. We see all too much, homes without fathers in it, the devastation of the children without dads. We see these things frequently doing this, true crime and covering child cases. We see the devastations of homes without fathers.
We see the devastations of homes with crappy, terrible fathers. It's tragic in and of itself. And here in this case, you've got a father that shows up and wants to be there. That's a good dad. That's a good dad. And so we learned at the very beginning that he was always there, yet the Department of Children and Family Services never reached out to him. Never identified that there was any problems going on in the house. So Seth is living life thinking everything's just normal. Just doing the daily grind, getting up, going to work, waiting for the next weekend when he sees Sebastian and he can actually go out and have some fun with his son. And he does that, he just was doing the grind, just doing the daily. You know what I'm saying? And then boom, he wakes up, doesn't wake up, he gets off work and boom, his whole world's turned upside down. And then a week or two later, he's starting to hear rumors that his son was being hit with a belt by Chris. He didn't know that. He didn't agree to that. Chris is always talking about the parenting agreement. Where in the parenting agreement did it say that he had a right to hit this child or discipline this child for that fact? Just because you're a step parent doesn't give you the right to be disciplining with physical punishment somebody else's child. If that's how you've got it set up and everybody is okay with that, that's one thing. But you cannot tell me that Seth would have ever been okay with Chris disciplining Sebastian physically. You couldn't pay me $1 million to believe that Seth would be okay with Chris disciplining Sebastian physically. Maybe when he was younger, again, I'm not one of these don't smack your kids. I think ever since people stopped, using corporal punishment, we have people that spit out vile crap that if you had said that back when I was growing up, you'd get backhanded by the person in front of you. You didn't know who they were. You ain't never seen them before. I mean, disrespect back in my days just did not happen. And I'm sorry if I believe that, you know what? I really, now that I'm grown, I miss them days. I miss them days. You didn't have smart mouth punks. And I tell you, the ones that didn't backhand you scared the crap out of you. Get you down eyeball to eyeball, big old, farmer, right? Getting down there. Let me tell you something, miss. I don't know what. I shouldn't be screaming in your ears. But you know what I'm saying. If they didn't backhand you, they scared the piss out of you. They scared the piss out of you. So long story short, this child, everything bad that's happened to this child has happened under Chris and Katie's watch. Seth took great care of his son when he was the sole caretaker. And then it comes to the divorce, the affairs, the SA allegations, the moving to Tennessee, that Sebastian never really got help for it. But one thing we've learned is this child, no matter what he has been through, even the physical abuse of Chris Proudfoot, he's never ran away from home, ever. And I have to think that some of those instances had to be pretty scary for Sebastian, no? I mean, we've seen Chris's outbursts publicly. And I got to tell you that when we look at him acting that way, we know he acts that way normally. And we have to think that somebody that has sensory issues and stuff, having somebody just going off like that or getting 2 inches from what we saw, there's no dispute what we saw that day at my court hearing, where he is literally 2 inches from his mother's face with his finger in her face, screaming at her. and then doing that to Terry Lynn and all of that nonsense. We all saw that. And you can't tell me he's never done that to Sebastian. You can't, you couldn't pay me $1 million to make me believe he's never done that to Sebastian. And I got to think that had to have been pretty scary for Sebastian. Terrifying, if you will. And he still didn't run away. He still didn't wait until they went to sleep that night and walk out the door, even though he was so scared. So scared. And we're made to believe that nothing major happened this weekend. This weekend they had one of the best weekends they've had in a while. Everybody was getting along. Nothing to see over here. But this weekend, not when Chris was hitting him with a belt, not when he was screaming at him in the face, not when he was spraying him with the hose, not when he was calling him an artard. When he's home alone with his mother and they had a very good weekend and nothing to see over here. It's then, and only then, that he decides he wants to leave his entire world behind and leaves his game. He doesn't want to be autistic anymore. So he leaves all of his prized possession behind, doesn't even want his shoes, and says, hey, don't even need a jacket. I just don't even want to come back. I'm just going to go out the door and F you all. Where would that come from? I mean, don't you think we would have some type of behavior or pattern consistent with that kind of behavior at the age of 15? I mean, shouldn't something like this have already been gearing up before this if it's going to happen on this day? The crazy thing is about autistic children is they're so set in particularity that it's hard for them to be spontaneous. And so what they're describing here is something very much spontaneous. So what have you? What say you? What if? What if? They did kick him out of the house, or he did run away? What if there was a fight and he did run out of the house? And what if Katie called Chris? And what if Chris came home to go out and search for Sebastian? And what if Chris found Sebastian and nobody knew he ever found him? What if? What if? I mean, if we were to go with that theory, what if? Because Chris was awfully confident early on, way too early on in this case, that we were never going to find him. I think he was saying that stuff back in April or May of 2024, some only 60 days after he disappeared, within that first 60 days. What if Chris found Sebastian by the retention pond? Boom. What if Katie never realized Chris found? What if he ran away and Chris found him and Katie didn't realize it? I mean, he seemed like a hothead. He threatened the news crews out there. Basically told him he's going to shoot him. He's a pig. He's a pig. And I'm going to tell you, he's going to be popping off the mouth like that one day to the wrong person. He's going to meet a bigger a-hole than him. And you know what? He's going to run his mouth and say, I'm going to shoot you. And that guy's just going to pick up his thing. Pop. Goes the weasel. He attacked the neighbors. Yep. He's got to be careful because he threatened my life. He's threatened several people's lives since this case. That's why it's not too hard to put it past him. That's why we think he did something to this child. He is so quick to want to unalive somebody. It's like he's waiting for his next victim. Maybe he's a serial killer. Who knows? I mean, so people have said some freaky stuff. He is all over this country. What if Chris Proudfoot's a serial killer? I'm serious, not serious, but serious. I mean, it's almost so far-fetched for me to believe that, we think he's a psychopath. I mean, he's definitely got the tag for it. I mean, would we know? I mean, the last time he was in Alabama, was a body washed up, within 10 miles of him? We didn't even know he was on the job there until his stepson disappeared. I mean, Lady Bird Lake. Right? Lady Bird Lake, and what's that Cumberland River? Many people have been thinking that downtown Nashville has had a serial killer for years. Mullet serial killer. Mullet serial killer. Maybe that's the one. Maybe that's why he got rid of the mullet. It was his identifying marker. Oh, good gracious. I'm dying. I'm dead. That is funny. What happened in Clinton, New York? Bar, what happened in Clinton, New York? Somebody asked. Be right back. My coffee outside. Oh, can't leave that coffee outside. I'm sick and tired of special needs kids getting abused. Oh, you ain't lying. I don't like any child being abused, but, it just takes a sick puppy to hurt. I mean, I know, let me put this on there. I don't know, but I know from the experiences others have shared with me that it sounds like it's incredibly difficult to raise some autistic children with their outbursts and stuff like that, because these are things that they can't control. They don't know why they do them. They try to use different therapies to help control, those types of things when they do happen. And then as they get older, I think those things do become a little more controlled. But I know it's incredibly difficult to raise an autistic child. And from my understanding, it's even more taxing on the child and the family during the puberty time. So I think that there's a lot that Chris and Katie aren't talking about because they're very private people. They don't like people knowing that they've messed up, right? Because they're arrogant, narcissistic dirtbags. And I think they were too prideful to realize they were not equipped to do this. And I think when they finally realize that they can't handle it anymore, they don't know what they're doing, which they would never admit it like that. They basically blame Sebastian for something. So they have an excuse of why he can't be there because it can't be them. It's got to be something else. So I truly believe that that's when they wanted to start, rehoming him with Seth. They were finally okay with doing it that way. But I think that made Katie feel like a complete and utter failure. And I think Katie is incapable of love, knowing love, unconditional love, nurturement. I think she's incapable of that. And I feel bad for her. In reality, I feel bad for her because she was robbed of that. That's not, it's not her fault, but it's still her. And at the end of the day, I think what happened to her has screwed her up more than anybody would ever like to admit.
and everybody wants to hide it from the world. And I think that they both live in the closet, not the proverbial, gay closet or whatever. I'm just, everybody has a closet of sorts, okay? Closet drinkers, closet shoppers, closet diddlers, closet. So I think they're both incapable of knowing what love is. I think they've had terrible examples of it. And when you're children, what's so amazing about kids, in my opinion, is the innocence. Nothing like me. I'm so hardened. Even just from a few short years ago when I first got on this platform, and I was so naive and ignorant and just having fun, and people had to steal that joy. I mean, even the experiences that I've gone through just doing this job have hardened me, right? And these children, what I love about them is that they're not hard. They have these big pictures. They have these big ideas. They're curious about everything. They're hungry for life. They're innocent. They're so pure because they haven't had the letdowns of life to change that. And we like to keep that as much as possible. And I think that was robbed from both Katie and Chris, because I've always believed Chris was abused, either sexually or physically. And I truly believe it was by somebody that Cathy dated, because there's this love-hate relationship between him and his mother. And he's a country boy, and he talks to women like shit. I've listened to him too many times. That's a very big indicator that he doesn't have the best relationship with his mother. If you're a guy and you're watching this show, and you try to convince me that you can call the woman that you're sleeping with a bee and a hoe, and you're going to try to convince me you have a great relationship with your mom, I'm going to call you a liar to your face, because if you have a great relationship with your mother, you look down upon your mother. Because no good man with a good respect for their mother would ever talk to any woman, any female, the way Chris talks to a female, ever. And any respectable woman would not allow their husband to ever talk to a woman like that. You know why? Because if a woman's going to be spoke to like that, a woman is going to do it. If I was married and there was some problem with a woman, do you think my husband addressed it? Raise your hand if you honestly thinks if there was an issue with a woman that my husband would address it. My husband would never, if there was something going on and somebody did him dirty, like with a job or whatever, he wouldn't address it. So if Katie was a respectable woman and she had something to say to any of those creators, she would have never allowed her husband to speak to women so disrespectfully and with such vitriol, and it was vile. She would have done it. But she kept her mouth shut. She kept her mouth shut. So that's kind of where we are. So now we're here talking about the Sebastian Rogers case. Katie's now, they wanted to shoot the reporters that were trying to talk about their case when it was breaking. But now 7 and 8 days after this, when the case is now becoming a criminal investigation, they're like, oh shit, now we need to turn on the Worried Parents Act and start doing our debut walkout here 7 and 8 days later, when statistics tell us if he really was abducted or kidnapped, he would be deceased within 72 hours. Statistics tell us that he would be dead within 72 hours. Most of them say within 3 hours. So they're going to be going and pleading for their son after the statistics of their theories would mean that he's deceased. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, and they barely even talked about him. The first interviews, they always had to keep coaching them.
All Katie knew to do is sound like she was crying. And she could do that because the cameras weren't in her face on this. But when you go to the very next day where she has to do an on-screen, on-camera interview, she can't run the smug look off her face. Crazy. But here we go. Day 2.
It's okay. Take your time.
Oh, yeah, this is when she really tries to lay it thick. Hold on.
I myself went to bed, and when I went to wake him up for school,
and he wasn't there.
He wasn't here.
Is she thinking about what she's going to say next or what?
And you did tell me that Sebastian is not a runner.
He's not.
He's not.
Oh,
It's okay.
He's not a runner.
Okay, take your time.
Sebastian does not have a history of
And the White Knight. The White Knight himself.
running. I mean, the young man doesn't go outside very much. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood knows him. He is very to himself, so to speak. Between the hours of 12 and 6, he has basically vanished. Walked out of the house, the door was locked, and
From the man that hates assumptions. From the man himself that says, assumptions lead all. And so, on one of these other ones, somebody asked him, well, what makes you, how do you know he walked out of the house? Well, all the other doors were locked, but how do you know he walked out of the house? Well, because we assume, after he's been screaming bloody murder to everybody that assumes something, he assumes that this child walked out of the front door when he wasn't even allegedly at the house. How does he know? Unless he's there. Unless they know that he went out a window, a door, or something. They don't know. But he sure is, this very first interview, he's sure making sure it sounds like the way he wrote it in a police report, doesn't it? He wants to make sure that that what they told the law enforcement is what they say to the public. And they know that they were questioned about that 3-hour phone call, so they got to make this crystal clear, y'all. Don't you know? Crystal clear, Chris. My shirt. I'm wearing my shirt tomorrow. We're gonna make Judge Ron Blanton climb the walls tomorrow. I mean, he's such a fan of my green shirt. We might as well. You know what? Maybe I'll go out there and do some more, work in the yard in that shirt. I'm just saying. I don't know. Maybe. Lord, let me go to the bush. Oh, good gracious. Who? Good gracious, Faye. Let me go up here. Now you're kind of pulling me into a different conversation. Now I'm going up to see what you're talking about. What in the world are you talking about, Faye? Good gracious. They were also checking her for unaliving her infant sister when she was 14. Are we talking about Katie? No. Because you got to remember, there's another Katie Payne that's believe it or not, worse than this Katie Payne. Like I don't know. They look like they're competing. If you ask me, there's another Katie Payne that Katie must have I don't know, must have got that Katie Payne spirit, because it sounds like she might have done what this other Katie Payne has done, which is kind of ironic if you ask me. 2 Katie Paynes, both of them with sons, both of them with some. If your last name's Payne, I'd stay away from the first name Katie. one of her infants was 19 days old. Huh. Wow. I didn't hear that. This is the first for me. This is the first for me. Do we have anything? Can you email me some stuff so I can look into that? It's not like I would quite talk about it just yet, but it's good information to have. So when something else comes up, it might, hey, I don't know, might connect some dots. You know? Who knows? Who knows? I can tell you, these people ain't right. I have never met people so brazen as to lie to a judge and lie on documents over and over again. I'm sorry. I don't like in my county, the judges don't like that here, man. That's why I know that county's corrupt. No judge likes being taken for a fool, especially from police. They get angry. I have seen judges screaming. And for this guy to be just blasé, I got no respect for this county. I'm going to drag this county as much as I can. I got no respect for none of them. None of them.
He didn't take a phone. None of his shoes are missing.
Now, you told me that night that, now, Chris, you were at work. You were out of town at work,
Yes,
so
ma'am.
you were not even home.
Correct, ma'am.
And Mom, you fell asleep on the couch about...
Makes you wonder. I mean, because these people are so hell-bent on convincing us. I wonder if she might have been crying. Did Chris punch her before the interview? Just to make it extra real? I'm just asking a question. I don't know. But she does sound a little stuffy. Was she doing rails before the interview? I mean, I'm just trying to figure this all out. We know she's a pill popper. Was this so intense that she decided to start cutting them up? I don't know. Allegedly, in my opinion, pill popper.
10 o'clock, but you said that Sebastian went to bed at 9 p.m. And then you got up off the couch and you went to bed, and you said that was around midnight.
Midnight.
And nothing was unusual at that point. Everything seemed okay.
There's actually
This content creator that you're seeing right here giving this terrible interview actually went to a motorcycle rally while people that didn't know this child or this family were out risking their own health and time away from their families searching for these people's kids. So they were out getting drunk, partying it up, having a great old time with a bunch of bikers. That's this lady right here. That's old Dutchie there. That's old Dutchie. And she had so much to say when I first came out on this platform. Well, she looks like a real POS to me from where I'm sitting. How about that judgment now, lady? How's that judgment now? Just saying.
a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear.
Oh, gotta do that again.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear.
Oh, gotta do that again.
A piece of, so to make something very crystal clear.
Okay, one more time.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear.
Okay.
There's actually a piece of, so to make something,
Everything seemed okay.
there's actually a piece of, so to make something very crystal clear. So that way there's transparency across the board. Very crystal clear. So that way there's transparency across the board. So to make something very crystal clear.
Okay, I'm stopping.
So that way there's transparency across the board. Me and the mom were on the phone at 9:43 or 9:46 in the evening.
And the only reason why he said this, let me ask you guys, let's show one or two. I'm not going to do a poll because I keep forgetting to give you guys the results of the poll any damn way. So we might as well just do it in the chat. Do you guys believe that the only reason why we learned of this 3-hour call from Chris himself was because he believed at some point it would become known to the public? Yes or no? 1 is yes, 2 is no. Take the poll. Be honest. Be honest. If you think it's other than that, you're a 2. If you think it's other than that, you're a 2. That's, I'm sorry. That's what I'm thinking too. Joe Neal. That wasn't you. I didn't put a 75. Joe, you don't follow instructions. Are you my brother? Joe doesn't follow instructions. Neither does Bullhorn Betty. We don't ding you for that. Don't worry. Don't worry. We're not going to boot you. We don't follow a lot of instructions either around here. But hey, we're not counting over here. We're not judging. Is he still hiding from BHB? Remember, this heavy equipment operator is afraid of a small lady. That's it. Oh, Bullhorn Betty's so scary. What's the worst thing that she's going to happen? She might scream at you through a bullhorn. Take her guns, throw her in jail. She's the most dangerous person on these streets. Oh my God. Give me a break. Give me a break. I got a John Deere too. You want to ride my tractor, baby? I'm putting the big scoop on it. They ain't finding you either, boo-boo. I'm just saying.
We stayed on the phone for quite some time. The call logs have been verified by all the police departments, TBI included. We stayed on the phone. It was very lengthy. Mom did slightly start falling asleep while she was on the couch. I had said, hey, you need to wake up, put the dogs up, go to bed. Now, mind you, that was right around midnight.
Right around midnight, eh? Sebastian went to bed. Went to bed at 9. They stayed on the phone for a lengthy amount of time. They didn't get off the phone until right about midnight. So let's do Dateline Sebastian Rogers here. Let's see what they say here in this Sebastian Rogers. They got some clips from Katie Proudfoot. Katie Proudfoot, she's missing. I think we need some search efforts. I keep wondering if Chris unalived her. Did Chris murder Katie? Did Katie murder Chris? Guys, actually, why you BSing over there? I'm just saying. Has anybody felt the pulse of either one in a while? I don't know. We might need to bring in the search party. I need to bring in the search party. I say all these cases are scams by shitty people, except for a couple. Well, I hope I'm not referred to in there. You be rude here, we just kick you out. So it's up to you whether you want to stay or not. But no, I gotta agree. There's a lot of people, but you know what? It sounds like a lot of people have stopped, and it makes me wonder why. Why have they stopped covering this case? Why have they turned away from being this army of misfits, these army of felon misfits for Chris and Katie Proudfoot? Did they stop paying their bills? Because these people are mafia type people, You want protection, you're paying for it on these streets. I mean, these people are getting freaking protective orders, lifetime protective orders, strangling kids and shit. I mean, what's going on here on these streets? Like, you got some bad apples over here that these people have been rubbing elbows with, and then all of a sudden it stops. It makes me feel like somebody's not getting the payday that they once got. No? Doesn't it feel like somebody stopped making payments? I mean, we had all this money just flowing all the time from these anonymous people for all these gift memberships and stuff. Hundreds to thousands of dollars being exchanged on these channels. Hundreds to thousands of dollars being exchanged on these channels. And then just like a water faucet, it stops. And now we don't hear them ever talking about Chris and Katie or this, that, and the other, or we're gonna take anybody off these streets that talk about blah 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 blah. Whatever. whatever. So in here, let's read this. This came out. Now, mind you, this interview was done. Let's just make sure we're accurate for all intents and purposes. It says 1 year ago. So May 3rd, write this down. I'm going to write it down so we have something to refer to. So May 3rd, 3/3/24. 3/3/24. So this article here by NBC News was just aired on 4/3/2025. So that's exactly almost 13 months to the day from one interview to the other. So let's see if the first interview in this most recent interview specifically related to this time when Sebastian went to bed and when Katie went to bed. And let's see if it matches what she says a year, 13 months later. Katie Proudfoot recalls the evening of Sunday, February 25th, 2024, as a typical one at home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Her 15-year-old son, Sebastian Rogers, got ready for bed around 9 p.m. So that has always been consistent. From story to story, the one thing that has been consistent is this very specific 9 p.m. on the dot time he went to bed. So he went to bed at exactly 9 p.m. 9 p.m. He says, "I love you" to his mothers and his 2 dogs, and headed to his bedroom for the night. Katie remembers hearing a noise come from Sebastian's room at 10 p.m. We have reports that it was 11 p.m., then it was 10:30 p.m., now it's 10 p.m. So now we're hearing the noise. It's back to being a noise, not a thud or thump, at 10 p.m. She says, "I hollered out to him and he answered me," Katie said. "I didn't think a whole lot of it," is what she says. About an hour later, Katie went to bed. So she's saying, listen to this, in this Dateline interview, Katie remembers hearing a noise coming from his room at 10 p.m. Hollered out to him. She didn't think a whole lot about it. And an hour later from 10 p.m. is what time? 11 p.m. 11 p.m. So about an hour later, Katie went to bed. How could she have gone to bed at 11 when she was on the phone with Chris almost till midnight? So why is she shaving an hour off her time 13 months later? Do you honestly think she would make a big mistake like that? Do you? That is a huge timeline change. I don't think she could ever possibly make a mistake like that. She's shaving time. Why? Because something was going on in the house that she needs to be in bed for. That's why. What could it have been? I think it's the figure at the window and the lights going on and off in Sebastian's room. There were certain things that happened after 11 p.m. And now she needs to be asleep for those things. Because how could she be on the phone with Chris until almost midnight and have the house dark and a figure peeking out of the front window? Not Sebastian's room. Now, I know that the hate channels and all these people, they want to keep twisting the information and disinforming the audience. But it was in a different window than Sebastian's, where the silhouette was. And if I have to look at the floor plan, it appears it's coming from it appears like it's coming from a dining room. Like their dining room set in the front as well. So Sebastian's room, there must be the front door. Sebastian's room's on one side of it, and the dining room is on the other side of it. The silhouette was on the other side of the door. It wasn't in Sebastian's room. So why would Katie, 13 months later, be trying to shave off an hour of her time? And I believe it has a lot to do with what was observed on the neighbor's Ring doorbell camera going on in the front of that house. And there's no way she could possibly be on the phone with Chris in a dark, completely blacked out house, peeking out the front window. Things are not right. So that's important. This is huge. This is a major inconsistency in her original statement. So let's go back to that.
Just before midnight or right around midnight.
Mm-hmm.
I had said, hey, you need to wake up, put the dogs up, go to bed. Now, mind you, that was right around midnight, just before midnight or right around midnight.
Why were they constantly saying midnight at the time? Because midnight helped them. Having midnight helped them. It helped them with something else that they couldn't answer over here, maybe the phone call. Maybe the phone call. But now that it's no longer helpful for them, they have to shave an hour off for another thing that happened inside that house, because I truly believe something happened inside that house. Katie called Chris. The reason why they were on the phone for so long is because they were planning everything they needed to do. They had no more time. Once they got off that phone and hung up, that was it. She was probably running all over the house getting stuff taken care of because something major had happened. And if you actually look at the timeline and look at the silhouettes in the window and everything that we know about the lights turning on and off in Sebastian's room, how did we miss this caveat? She didn't go to bed until midnight. So when those lights and stuff were going on and off in his room, when that house went dark, well, allegedly she's still on the phone on the couch, reading her semester or her paperwork from school, falling asleep on the couch. That happened at like 11:30, y'all. She was on the phone with Chris allegedly until midnight. How in the world did she miss somebody standing in her freaking dining room window? Doesn't make sense. So now she's no longer midnight. It's got to be 11. Because how the hell is she going to explain the windows? How is she going to explain the lights? Doesn't make sense. And I do believe she was there. I believe she was on the phone with Chris, because the records say it, because he said they know that this was the time. They know they were on the phone for 2.5 hours because she called him at 9:45, and they got off the phone right before midnight. And now all of a sudden she's going to bed at 11. What about the last 45 minutes of the telephone call? What did she take Chris into the room with her now? And this is the kind of the horse crap that we're meant to eat while Sumner County sits on their butt and does nothing. This doesn't make sense. Where are the warrants for their house? Where are the forensic testing results for their house? What did they do? And why are they hiding and lying?
Mm-hmm.
So then mom does go to bed and wakes up early in the morning to go wake her son up, get him ready for school. And now we have a worried mom who can't find her son in the house. Mom made an effort to look and search several times. Mom has called me at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. I was like, do what? And she goes, yeah, I cannot find him. I said, well, hang on. I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department because that's what we're supposed to do. And within 10 minutes, the sheriffs were dispatched to the location.
And you had told me that there hadn't been any particular situation that had occurred where you felt like there would have been something that happened. And I also had asked you if there were any.
Now, mind you, he didn't want to admit that there were CPS cases here at this juncture. No talk about those. That didn't break out until Smiley's World.
Friends that Sebastian might have possibly left the house with, or if he had any contact with anyone on social media. Do you want to comment about that again?
He doesn't have a social media.
Yeah, social media, but she's cracking up on the next interview the next day. Absolutely cracking up.
And the only friends that he had were a couple of kids in school.
Okay.
All the kids that have had any interaction with him have been interviewed and asked.
And listen to this. Sebastian did have friends. He was just not allowed to hang out with them after school. He was not allowed to go over to their house. He was not allowed to have them over at his house. So he had friends, despite what Chris and Katie have told the world all this time. He had friends at school that he socialized with, that he talked about games with. He loved talking about, a Minecraft game with his friends. He wasn't friendless. They want us to make him so infant-like to us. He had friends. He just wasn't allowed to have friends after school. That's all. They were too busy trying to make sure that they isolated him as much as possible.
Okay.
We as parents know how social media can be.
Right.
And seeing how kids can be easily manipulated.
He's very young in mind.
Yes, he may be.
Right.
He's about 15, and he's 15 in age in his body, but his mind is not caught up to his body. But that is something that goes through with autistic children, as everybody would know.
Right.
But for the record, I am a very strict parent. He does not have social media, not in our household. He doesn't online game. I'm pretty strict when it comes to that kind of
He's not strict. He's just abusive.
situation.
Well, that's good. That's good, Chris, that you have control of that, because social media can be very
I'm going to say that as a statement of fact because I can prove that in a court of law.
Dangerous for young kids because they don't realize who they may be talking to on social media. So it's always good to have that awareness and to make sure you're monitoring, what your kids are doing. So I had asked you both, did you have any idea what would make Sebastian want to suddenly leave the house? And you told me.
That's exactly why we're here tonight, isn't it? Why would he ever walk out of the house? We were just at the intro. Coming into this intro. What did I say? Let's play. What would make him leave the house? They're saying, we now know his history. We didn't know it back then. We didn't even know it when we first watched this, which was months later after this was even produced. I didn't know about this. I heard it through the grapevine, and it was after whenever Chris McDonough had Steve Johnson on reviewing the Grease shirt for the first time. I don't remember what date it was, but I know that it was the very next day after that. And the next day or the day after that, it was within 48 hours, we were playing this interview. Because I remember I was in the kitchen and Miss Dutchie decides to come in and be a little snooty. Yeah, this is my video. Yeah, don't shit. You've been barfing my name for the last 4 years. You should be so privileged to have me barf yours for a few times. So that's kind of where we were. And wow.
Did you have any idea what would make Sebastian want to suddenly leave the house? And you told me, well, that's the $1 million question that everybody wants to know.
This is an autistic boy. He has never, with all the violence, all the hate he received, even as so much as saying that he feels his mom hates him. All of that never ran away. And then all of a sudden they have a good day, not a bad day, allegedly. And this is the day he walks away from his home with nothing. Somebody justify that to me. Can somebody just justify that to me? Make it make sense to me. That does not make sense. Does that make sense to you? Probably. I have no idea who she is. Like I said, I would have never said anything nasty or rude about her, other than I would have probably still complained about her not shutting up during interviews and giving them multiple choice. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But, other than that, I wouldn't have had anything nasty to say about her. But then people are sending me all this crap about what she said about me. And I'm just like, this lady's a freaking fruitcake. Sorry.
All the detectives, they've all asked that same question. What is it that happened that caused him to leave the house? And I know you must be so worried and so concerned. Is there anything, if Sebastian were listening to this live stream right now, if you knew that he was out there, what would you want to tell him?
That we love you and to come home.
Oh, good God. But one time at band camp, a reporter asked her, sincerely, how are you coping with all this?
So first, just express, I can't even imagine as a parent what you two are going through. How would you describe the situation right now? How are you coping?
Now just remember, just not even a full 24 hours before, we were listening to this horse shit.
Is there anything, if Sebastian were listening to this live stream right now, if you knew that he was out there, what would you want to tell him?
That we love you and to come home.
she must have been working on that, because after that she didn't have anything else to say. Things she said, "I love you, come home." Right? And it's like, "I love you and come home." Do you think they bought it? Do you think they bought it? Did I do good? Maybe we should talk. Maybe we should talk.
If Sebastian were listening to this live stream right now, if you knew that he was out there, what would you want to tell him?
That we love you and to come home.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I mean, it's pretty simple. This boy has a very large family.
Damn! They just can't let air. 4 seconds. Shay was like, "Oh, we want you to go home." Did I do good? Did I do good? Did I do good? I mean, that's just like, what? Am I off base here?
He was out there. What would you want to tell him?
That we love you and to come home.
I mean, it's pretty simple. This boy has a very large family that everybody is asking the question, where are you? We love you, and please come home.
Yes. We definitely need to find him as soon as possible. If you live in this area, please.
Barf, barf, barf. Barf, barf, barf. We got a button for that, Erna.
The lie detector test determined you are a liar.
What can I say? The button's always right. It's a Chris Proudfoot button. You always have a right answer every time when you're referring to, is that true? Chris just said blah, blah, blah. Is that true?
You're a liar.
Did he take, he says he didn't take Sebastian out of the house.
Liar. 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 Liar.
He said he wasn't there that morning at 3 to 4.
You're a liar.
He wasn't in it. He borrowed, he says he wasn't in the area and he didn't borrow anybody else's vehicle to be in the area.
Liar.
Huh. Katie Proudfoot's an amazing mom.
Nice try, but you're a liar. Liar, liar, liar. Nice try, but you're a liar.
I feel guilty because I thought it was a Chris Proudfoot button, but look at that. It's a Chris and Katie Proudfoot button. It should say hashtag Chris Proudfoot, hashtag Katie. Can we get those shirts? That's what we need. We need a shirt that says hashtag Chris Proudfoot. Can we get a shirt that says hashtag Chris Proudfoot stat? I'm just joking, Sonny. Don't make me a shirt. But I'm just saying. Since it's the most dangerous, since it's the most lethal word in America. Sometimes I can't do this with a straight face. Hashtag Chris Proudfoot, the most dangerous statement in America. It got me arrested. It wasn't a fun experience. I'm laughing about it because trust me, it was not a fun experience. It did. Yeah, we're not going there. Anyways. Outer Banks, I expect to dance with that. Oh, good gracious. Mark says, many miles away, saying he couldn't be anywhere. Who says? I know. You know, it's getting so ridiculous. I think we need to do I don't know. I think we need to do like a crotch gate thing, but I don't know. A liarfoot gate? Liar gate? I don't know. We need to work on it, but I think we need to come up with some stuff. I think we need to come up with some stuff. CP, where was your dad on Monday morning? Now, well, Faye. Let's not forget web sleuths. Let's not forget web sleuths, because he was on web sleuths, and when Seth was addressing him about Sebastian's disappearance and his mom and stepfather possibly having Sebastian, he did not refer to Monday. He referred to Sunday evening. He was very adamant. And that let me know something happened to Sebastian on Sunday, not Monday. Because Chris was there. You know, my parents weren't around Katie or Sebastian Sunday. But you said they didn't go missing until midnight to 6 a.m. on Monday. Why would he be referring to Sunday? And it dawned on me. He knows. He knows what happened, and he knows it happened on Sunday. That's why. He knows what happened, and he knows it happened on a Sunday. Which then brings me back to the late Peter Hyatt's comments about he believes that 3-hour call was significant. I also believe that. But I didn't know how significant. So this is where the experts come in, because I knew that it's significant, but I didn't know how or why. And it's Peter Hyatt's, the late Peter Hyatt's commentary that basically says, this sounds like the event happened right before that. She says this child went to bed at 9. I think she's lying about that. I think in her third interview, the Hands interview, I think she was accurate in saying she let him stay up a little later that night. And I think she let him stay up to 9:30. And I think whatever they had discourse at 9:30 that resulted in something happening, which prompted that phone call in accordance with Peter Hyatt's assessment. Now, Peter Hyatt differ. I love Peter Hyatt, but just like at night, I don't agree this is a trafficking issue. But I don't believe that they put Sebastian out. We did bring up the theory that he could have been put out, right? They put him out or he ran away, and then she calls Chris. He comes in, he finds him, bada bing, bada boom. He never makes it home, and Chris acts like he never found him. Could that be a possibility? Yes, it could be a possibility. Is it probable based on everything I'm personally seeing in my experience doing this? The answer is no. So that's where we're at. We're going to leave it at this. You would be very interested to know. We've only watched 10 minutes of Duchess. We started at 20, and actually 7 minutes. We started at 23 minutes into this because that's when Katie and Chris come up on her show. We're right now at 30 minutes and 33 seconds, which says that we've only gotten about 10 minutes into this video with Duchess, and we've talked for 5 hours on less than 10 minutes. Of Duchess and Jennifer. I'm not opinionated at all. Not in the least. I just looked down and I'm like, is that? So I was definitely way, way, way over aggressive. And because you got to remember, we were going to do all of this last night. And when we got to about 3 hours, I realized, okay, we're not moving along. And then I thought, okay, we're going to get some stuff done, right? We're going to finally get some stuff done. We're going to get through this Duchess interview. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh, hot damn, we got through 7 minutes. 5 hours later, 7 minutes. So I don't know how long this series is going to go on, but if we're moving at the pace we're moving at, I think we're going to be talking about Sebastian Rogers, at least these 3 videos. It's for probably a month, because it looks like it's going to take us 2 weeks just to get through Duchess. We're going to be so sick of looking at Duchess. You guys are going to be cussing as much as me the next time you have to hear it. I'm going to stop. I'm starting to cry. I don't know. I cracked myself up today. Maybe I need to go pull some more weeds. Man, it must have been the sand that I was inhaling pulling those weeds. What's in the dirt out in my yard? Did somebody spike my dirt? I'm just trying. Did you guys spike my dirt? Did you guys get laughing gas in the dirt when I'm trying to shake the roots off? I wonder what was getting all over me. I thought it was dirt. I wasn't rinsed off. Hell. Maybe I should have left it on a little longer. No, I'm just joking. All right, guys, you guys have a great evening. We'll be back here tomorrow. We're going to do this series at 3:30, and it's going to be this series at 3:30 every day. This is something that we can commit to 7 days a week. So 3:30 is Sebastian Rogers. I would say hour, but it looks like our religion here with Sebastian's case is probably 2 to 3 hours. So plan to stick around and hang out and chat. And I've been trying to be a little more attentive to your conversations when I have a platform like this where I'm just I know what direction I'm going and I know what I want to watch, but I don't have a script. It makes me a little more flexible to kind of engage with you guys a little more. Talk to you instead of at you. All right, guys, rock it out with your coffee beans out. I want to go through these. I forgot to do this earlier, and I'm so sorry, you beautiful people. I know you guys had a lot of sweet messages on our first show, and I forgot at the end to go back and check them and read them to all of you. And I want to give you guys my sincerest apology, because I always try to make sure that you guys know I see them. And I try, if you guys, we all saw them in the chat and I put them up there at least once, thank goodness, then I don't feel so bad. But if I forgot to display your chat, I'm really sorry, or your milestone or anything that you guys did. I do apologize. That wasn't my intention, but it wasn't until after I had already closed it down. I'm like, crap, I forgot to go back, because I always like at the end of the show to go back and just thank everybody that participated, everybody that, obviously put money to this, because I mean, people, this is somebody's money. This is somebody's hard-earned money right here. So I like to say thank you for that. So Miriam, thank you for being consistent with this case when others go off the rails. BHB keeps it 100. Danielle, thank you again for this very generous super sticker. I do appreciate it. Cash says, touch grass, smoke grass, eat grass. Do you need to, or do what you need to do? Oh, look at this. Connie, thank you so much for your super sticker as well. I do absolutely appreciate your graciousness. Grave Crime with Grace gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership, please don't forget to tell Grave Crime with Grace thank you. And whoever received your Bullhorn Betty membership, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straight jacket and your padded room. Welcome aboard, and you're going to definitely need it today. And Outer Banks, I expect to dance with that. What are you talking about? I've already been shaking my ass in front of the company that's scraping my that's scraping my pipes. Oh, God. Normal life stuff can sound so nasty. I'm sorry. Just normal day-to-day stuff can really sound like, if you walk in the middle of a conversation, you'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? I'm just talking about the construction people outside my door. What did you think I was talking about? Great live. We needed the laugh. I figured so. All right, guys, we will see you tomorrow, 3:30. Be here, be there, be square. And we'll chat soon. Don't forget to share this around. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. We'll be back next time. Maybe I'll have a drum set. I don't know. I'll see you guys another day. I'm hanging up my hat. I'm retiring. I'm out of here, folks. I'm out of here. From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.